Welcome to the Bismarck Cancer Center podcast. I'm your host, Dana Hager, Education Outreach Services Coordinator at the Bismarck Cancer Center. In this podcast, we'll share stories of hope, health, and healing, and learn more about the people and technology behind the scenes at the Bismarck Cancer Center. Today's guest is Jill Wiese, registered nurse at the Bismarck Cancer Center. Welcome to the show, Jill. I'm so glad you could join me today.
Thank you for having me.
This is kind of a last-minute thing for you. You are a PRN over at the Cancer Center, and I don't know if everybody knows what that means, but what does that mean?
Well, in our nursing world, PRN means as needed. So sometimes your doctor will tell you, take your pain pill every 4 hours and PRN as needed. So I don't have a schedule. I'm as needed.
So we bring you over when we need you.
Oh, and that we are needed.
Okay. So You're over there quite a bit. So you were working today and you came to help us and do this quick podcast with us.
Sure.
We're so glad you're here with us. I want to talk a little bit about you. We're going to talk about an event that you do and a little bit about nursing stuff. So first, tell me about you. Where did you come from? Like, what's your story?
Oh boy, I'm kind of old, so this could get lengthy here, but no, I'm Bismarck, originally grew up here in Bismarck, graduated from Bismarck High School, 1978, go Demons.
That's a great year, by the way.
And it's a really good year. I suppose you were born that year.
I was born that year.
Okay,
yes.
then, there. So anyway, I joined the Army National Guard right out of high school and went down to basic training in Alabama, did my medic training in Texas, went to Bismarck State College for a year. I was an Army field medic in the Guard. And then they had a need for LPN nurse, which is a little below an RN, but yet a nurse. We had a lot of slots for LPNs. And I honestly didn't know what an LPN was at the time. So I asked my sisters, who were both nurses, and they said, yep, go do it. It'll be a good part-time job while you're finishing your bachelor's degree and whatever. So I thought I wanted to be a junior high science teacher, but that ended up going to Wahpeton, and the National Guard paid for my schooling, got my LPN, my first job in 1980 at St. Alexis on the medical oncology floor. Always had a love for my cancer patients. I worked there for a year, and then I decided to move to Denver, Colorado, and work as an LPN at a trauma center, and also went to paramedic school. Being in the Guard, we had to take EMT training. So I got my first EMT, emergency medical technician, 1978. And so then from there, went to paramedic school, worked part-time as a medic in Denver on a fire department and an LPN. And then, of course, I did what most couples do. I came home to my sister's wedding and I met my husband at the wedding.
Okay.
Because that's how that happens.
Yes, that happens.
Never thought I'd really leave Colorado. I love North Dakota, but I moved home to Washburn to marry Bob. And we had our 35th wedding anniversary in May.
Oh,
and
congratulations.
So yeah, thank you. Washburn's been my home since about 1985. And I love Washburn. It's one of the best towns in the state, I feel. I'm a member of the Washburn Ambulance now for about 27 years as a volunteer EMT. Love that. Love my squad. Love helping out a community, and EMS in the rural areas is much, much needed right now as our nurses. So that's kind of my story. Did 6 years in the Guard. We have two daughters, 33 and 29. We're brand new grandparents.
I was going to say,
baby Lily. Yep, 7 weeks. Best gig I've ever had, being a grandma.
Awesome.
And so I'm PRN at the Cancer Center. I am now PRN at Sanford as well. I've been at Sanford. I started in 1984 there when we were still Bismarck Hospital. And so went through Med Center 1 name change and Sanford now the last 9 years. So I'm PRN at both places. So I'm a full-time sub.
You are a busy lady.
Full-time sub.
And everything, your whole life seems very busy. You've got a lot of moving parts going on in your life. And I'm so happy that you have found
it's kind of seasonal. I always tell everybody's like, well, I don't cook and clean. I'm married. And Bob does a lot of that. He has to get a lot of kudos for that. But everything I do is kind of seasonal because the music is very spring, summer, fall that we do with our bluegrass band. And then Huff Hills Ski Patrol, we're going to start gearing up here now, hopefully in December. That's going to go till the end of March. So that I have a lot of seasons in my life, I think.
Yeah, and let's kind of let everybody know bluegrass. Jill is an amazing musician. She rolls her eyes, but yes, you're an amazing musician. Part of a bluegrass band. I want to talk to you about that. And you're a skier. You're out at Huff Hills. You're just a super busy lady.
Yeah.
When you were at the Cancer Center, what's your favorite part?
The patients. I love the staff too. We're a big family. You know that as well. We're a family at work. It's coming to work with people you love so much. That makes it really fun. Our patients are what is the driving force. And they're all ages, and they are from all over the state. And it's nice to just help them feel welcome. Talking to a couple ladies this morning, they're here, they stay in our apartments with the foundation help. And they're from out of town and small towns, and they're really just enjoying this time to be at our apartments and take some time for themselves. One patient told me this morning has 4 kids at home, but she's on a mommy vacation having radiation.
That's a mommy vacation.
She's very positive. And she's so grateful for the apartments to be able to stay because she lives a distance away. So that's really what makes it count, is just to be there for our patients. Yeah.
And you must have seen this. So you're talking about the apartments, this need and this keeping the foundation going, because you started a fundraiser to help things like our transportation and our apartments. Tell me a little bit about this fundraiser you started for us.
So my sister Barb Wild developed breast cancer at age 39. Now that was back in 2001. And she had not had a mammogram yet because, they weren't really advising them. We had no breast cancer in our family history. And so when this all happened, we called Barb the Earth Mother. Like you'd look in her cupboards and she had granola and I don't know, flax or whatever all the healthy people eat. I don't eat all that typically, but anyway, she was very earthy. We called her the Earth Mother. All her coworkers. And when Barb Wild got breast cancer, stage 4, 21 lymph nodes affected. Everyone was in a lot of shock. Not that you're not in shock for anyone else, but we really were for her. And so she, had a mastectomy and did all the traditional, very heavy chemotherapies that you do. And she fought it for 11 years. I will say she had a good 11 years. And we had a lot of fun during that time. And she's a super role model for me. She was my role model. And so I try to live how she did things. And so this is a long time ago that this happened. So that's why I feel I have a little spunk of volunteerism or something in me because of Barb. I thank her for that. So when she'd been gone 10 years. And I said to our bluegrass band Cottonwood, I go, hey, can we just throw something together out at Cross Ranch? That's our home base. We put a festival on there and let's just call it Bluegrass Goes Pink. I like themes. I'm a theme person. And they're all like, perfect. That works good. And we had our graphic designer had a banjo with a pink ribbon on it. And, we just started. We didn't have to pay anybody anything really because we were, going to play for free and all that. And we had some nice folks sponsor for a couple radio ads and, got on our local television shows that are so helpful. So we had pretty low budget, to start with. Well, I think we had 300 and some people the very first year. And we had some cupcakes. I think somebody was selling hard pack ice cream or something. And everybody's like, do you have any food out here? And we're kind of hungry. Well, it's a 7:00 concert. So we added in the Washburn churches then at year 2 or 3. And so now we have a meal. And, the meal alone brings in about $1,900. That's a free will offering. But when you're serving 400 to 500 people now, like we do, big kudos to all the churches in Washburn because they bring all the food and they donate it all. And our Catholic church in Washburn donates all the hamburger and the hot dogs and the buns and ketchup and mustard and plates, napkins. I thank all of our churches though. It's a big community event. We have a walk run out there in the morning. You've been up to that.
Done that. Yep.
That's tons of fun. I don't do a lot of 5Ks. I'm not a runner. And so I felt kind of weird, oh yeah, we're going to put this on. I had no clue what to do. Had a lot of help, a lot of professional 5K, even some marathon runners help us to help plan it and put it on. And that's been really successful. Around 95 people come out for that. A lot of people are camping and they hear about it. So they throw their tennies on and come over and donate to the cause.
have to run either.
You walk. This year we had probably over 30 dogs. And so one thing we need to do next summer is have a bunch of dog dishes out with water so when the pups get done. But this all started, in memory of Barb. The only thing I feel bad is why didn't I start it right away? I look back, what was I doing that first 10 years? Raising kids, obviously, but I just think, we got to move on. We got to put this event on. So obviously we need to have it every year. Next year will be our 10th. Bluegrass Goes Pink, 10th anniversary. And so that's really fun. And every year we remember people. So we usually have 4 or 5 names on. Everybody's like, how do you pick those names? It's people we know. Maybe our relatives, maybe, our neighbor, good friends in Washburn, people we took care of at the...
There's a personal connection.
Very, very personal. And we put their names on the shirts with a little symbol next to their name, and it kind of personalizes it more for the family. And a couple of years ago, my high school classmate lost her husband to a brain tumor. And she drove all the way from Kentucky, and she was so honored to have her husband's name on there, and then like a big deer, elk horns or whatever, to honor Troy. He was a big hunter. And so it's fun to make it personal, but it's a fun event too. It's not all too sad either. We have a moment at the concert where we have the families come up and light a candle if they want. Most of them do. And then, take a picture with them and sing some songs, especially for their loved one.
Excellent.
It's a great event. It takes a village to put something like that on with a lot of volunteers like most of our events do. But it's fun to get people out to somewhere they don't typically maybe go to. People have said over the years, maybe you should have it in Bismarck or have it at one of our parks. And, that'd be okay too, but we camp. So we're there setting up. We're there a couple days early, getting the walk run set up. It works for us.
Well, and Cross Ranch Park is a beautiful park. And to promote that as well.
They help us and promote the park. Works both ways. So this year our fundraiser was ginormous.
Yeah, what did you raise this year?
It was around $15,600. We had some very large checks.
That's crazy.
And some great donors this year. And I think a lot of folks came, they were ready to get out and just ready to give, and they know the cause and they know what we do. A lot of patients come, a lot of families come. We had a lot of families of folks we've lost that come, and they really enjoy the spirit of the event.
Yeah. So, how does that make you feel? So we always say that every penny counts at the Bismarck Cancer Center. We say every penny counts because it really does. Like every service that we provide our patients is just such a gift to them. So 15,000 is a lot of pennies. How does that make you feel?
Well, I have goosebumps, but I think of this morning, Courtney, our massage therapist, when we have a new patient, we say, well, can I sign you up for a massage? And they all say, no, all these farmers from ranchers, and I've never had a massage. And we're like, I don't even ask anymore. I just sign them up. I'm that secret one. I don't know if anybody knows that. I'm giving away my secret. So then they get off of the radiation machine, and Courtney, who is not only our massage therapist, but she's the Mandan High School cheerleader advisor. And if you hear her in the hallway, she's the cheerleader at the cancer center as well. And so to see the patients come off of the machine, and here's Courtney, well, hi, and she takes them to the massage room. That's one of my favorite things, to see patients who not otherwise would ever have a massage in their life.
Right. And
to have that experience with Courtney and the way Courtney is. I love seeing them hand out a gas card. It just humbles me to no end to have, Jen, our social worker, Amanda, our dietitian, the apartments across the street. We have the most amazing setup. I think we should be the model for other cancer centers. Absolutely. I really do. We have it really good.
It takes people like you to put forth this effort to give back and to see that what we're doing is great. So your bluegrass is amazing, Jill. We are very proud of you and what you do. So when you leave here and head back to the cancer center, tell me how that feels to you when you go in those doors.
It gives me hope. Joy. I enjoy everyone I'm with, including the patients and their families. And I think there's a lot of good happening in cancer. And I think we hear cancer and we think, how much time do they have? Put your affairs in order. And I think my coworkers, even at Sanford, will tell me, Oh, you're working at the cancer center next week? Oh, that must be kind of depressing, the waiting room. Well, you know the waiting room.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big party out there now, since we've opened it up more. People make friends out there, they visit with each other. It's their own support group. So there's a lot of hope. There's a lot of good we're doing with radiation and the folks across the street giving them chemo. And a lot of folks do very well. And we need to remember that because there is some doom and gloom and a lot of sadness. And our patients choose, okay, I'm done. I'm going to have some hospice now and palliative care. And that's hard on all of us. But we've seen them go through that fight and struggle. So, and we have hugs, lots of hugs and a lot of tears, but there's more joy, I think, happening there and a lot of hope.
I would agree with that. I've heard people say that too. It must be a hard place to work, but you're 100% right that it doesn't feel like that when you're in the cancer center. It feels like family and it feels like you're in a good place.
I had to get on everybody in the waiting room this morning because nobody was working on the puzzle.
They need to keep that going.
And it's a big puzzle.
Yes, indeed. Well, I know the cancer center staff works really hard to make the patient waiting area and the whole clinic itself feel less like a clinical area and more like home. And so that's great. I'm glad you mentioned that. So people know that when you come in, you're welcome to come on in and sit down and have some coffee.
Yep.
Before I let you back to your nursing duties, Jill, anything else you want to let us know?
I think this is a great podcast. It's great to meet the staff and hear what's going on. I love what you do, Dana. You work really hard and with a very young family, and all the events you're a part of and all the events people put on for us all year long are greatly appreciated, as we know.
Absolutely.
And so proud to be a part of this team. Really, really honored.
Well, we are so grateful for you, Jill. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks for having
today.
me.
Thank you for listening to the Bismarck Cancer Center podcast. Subscribe to hear new episodes anywhere podcasts are found, and connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, or bismarckcancercenter.com. We'll talk again next time on the Bismarck Cancer Center podcast.